If you look at the daily routine of an average student today, you will find a massive amount of sensory noise. We are constantly swiping through short-form videos, cycling between apps, and processing an endless stream of notifications. Because this endless loop of digital engagement and peer gossip happens every single day, it feels completely normal. But beneath the surface, it consumes our capacity to focus on anything that actually matters. Most teachers we encounter are there to deliver the syllabus. They walk in, teach the math or science lesson, and leave. But occasionally, you meet an educator who steps outside the textbook to deliver a lesson about life itself. One day, my teacher stopped the usual lecture, looked right at me, and delivered a directive that was strangely blunt. Don't be like nonsense. It's a confusing phrase, but that awkward wording is exactly what makes it work. It acts as a mirror, forcing you to stop mid-scroll, look at your own habits, and ask exactly what you are doing with your time. Why use the word nonsense? Why not give the standard command to pay attention or stop talking? Because nonsense describes a much broader problem than making a few jokes in class. It is the systemic, invisible leakage of your most valuable resources, time and attention. When examining a modern schedule, you see exactly where that attention escapes. It bleeds into meaningless arguments, infinite feeds, and days lived with zero intention. A typical instructor might ignore this and stick to writing equations on the board. This teacher chose to intervene, actively working to plug those leaks before they drained away a student's potential. Naming the problem is the first required step. Once you label these specific habits as nonsense, you can start reclaiming control over your own mind. That single realization acts as an internal compass. It shifts the teacher's role from a strict disciplinarian to a guide pointing toward a more meaningful way of operating. From there, the chaotic noise of nonsense mode gets deliberately shut down, replaced by a highly intentional sense mode. Step 1 of this new blueprint is subtraction. You ruthlessly block out the useless activities and the trivial gossip that crowd the margins of your day. Step 2 requires a behavioral shift in the classroom. Instead of sitting back and passively hearing a lecture wash over you, you lean in and actively listen. Step 3 takes that engagement further. Rather than staying quiet and hoping the class ends, you start formulating and asking meaningful, intention-driven questions. These 3 shifts work together to flip the dynamic. The student stops being a passive container for information and becomes an active architect of their own growth. Step 4 targets how we prepare. Chaotic, anxiety-driven cramming the night before an exam is replaced by a meticulous, disciplined daily study routine. Step 5 locks it all in. You develop an overriding respect for time, leading to disciplined action and deeper learning. These aren't isolated tips, but an interlocking ecosystem, habits supporting each other, creating a shield that deflects outside noise. Compare the scattered attention span of a student scrolling through a feed to the structural integrity of this new method. The difference in output is clear. Operating with sense is not an inherent personality trait you either have or lack. It is a rigorously engineered system built from daily micro-decisions. When you stop letting your attention leak into a dozen different directions, the mental noise that usually prevents deep work starts to fade. You find you can sit with a difficult concept for 20 minutes rather than 2. That ability to stay with a task translates directly to real-world outcomes. You start seeing a steady and undeniable improvement in your academic marks. Winning these small academic battles builds a level of self-trust that didn't exist before. You prove to yourself that you are capable of finishing what you start. This is the ultimate realization of the journey. Upgrading your study habits forces you to rebuild your character. The process of learning discipline reshapes who you are as a human being. By the time the results improve, the most important change has already happened inside. Academic success becomes the natural output of a disciplined mind. Education in this light is less about absorbing facts and more about developing the grit to ignore what doesn't matter. It is the practice of filtering out the noise of the modern world. The teacher's advice provides a clear boundary for where your energy should go. It's a tool for navigation in an age where distraction is the default. It sets up a simple dichotomy. Nonsense wastes time. Sense builds success. You can adopt this exact phrase as your own daily mental filter. The next time you find yourself losing an hour to a feed, run that action through the filter. Actively choosing to outgrow the nonsense around you is the ultimate milestone of maturity, purpose, and true education.